Okay, now when we have a piecemeal acquisition, we need to add another working that is called gain or loss on second acquisition. Okay, bear in mind this gain or loss on second acquisition, you will calculate if uh, the situation is from sub to sub. For example, just now, initially acquired 70%, add another 15%, so now becoming 85%. So the status of the company still remain as a subsidiary. So therefore, we need to calculate an item called gain or loss on second acquisition. So how we determine gain or loss on second acquisition? We will take the consideration transfer on the second acquisition. For example, on the 1st October 2019, H acquired another 15% for 1 million. So just put there 1 million here. Okay, you put 1 million there. Alright. Then, okay, you put 1 million here. Okay. And then you last fair value of net asset on the second acquisition. Okay, this one, actually the item are all items that normally consist in the calculation of goodwill. You have ordinary share, you have your retained profit, but now your retained profit, you must calculate the retained profit as at the second acquisition, that is on the 1st October 2019. So you will take the total of retained profit BT as well as the retained profit for the current year. So for the retained profit for the current year, you need to times with 9 over 12. Okay, 9 over 12 because you want to calculate the profit as at 1st October 2019. Anything that you have a BD, you must add with from the beginning of the year. Okay, so you times 9 over 12. And then if you have any ARR, your share premium or general reserve, you may include it also in the computation. Okay, when you get your total amount, you will times the percentage. Okay, this percentage actually referring to the difference in NCI. Okay, different in NCI. So for example here, the acquisition is 70%, NCI is 30%. Then they add another 15%, NCI becoming 15%. So the difference between 30% to 15% is 50%, so you will times with 50% here. Okay, 15% is not the additional acquisition. This is the difference in the NCI. Okay, this one, XX times the percentage, I put it as a B. Okay, put it as a B because later on when we want to do the adjustment, easier for us to find out which figures to put in the respective accounts. Okay, now if you have a positive figure, for example, you have 30 minus 20, you get 10. 10 is a positive. So if it is a positive, we get a loss. Loss on second acquisition. Why is it loss? Because you pay more than what you get. Okay, you pay more than what you get. You pay 30 but you get 20. So it is a loss. However, on the other hand, if you get negative, for example, you have 30, okay, but here you have 40, so you get negative 10. So the negative 10, we call it as a gain, okay, because you pay 30 but you get 40, so you get a gain of 10. Okay, this one, the gain or loss, I label it as A, figure A. Okay, now we want to do the adjustment in relation to SOPI and also SOPL. Okay, so now in SOPI, we will adjust in the schedule. Okay, schedule. So if you still remember, you prepare your SOPI, right? So schedule, you have a schedule. Okay, schedule for GRP and also NCI. Okay, you put as a decrease in NCI or reduction in NCI. Okay, the amount that you take will be the B just now, and it must be in bracket. And then for A, you will have H berhad, right? Then you have items in H berhad, so you can put gain on second acquisition. That is figure A. So if it is a gain, your A is a positive. A is positive. If it is a loss, then A will be in bracket. If loss on second acquisition, A will be in bracket. Okay, this is the adjustment in the SOPI. In the SOPA, actually similar. If we look at the schedule portray the SOCI, Statement of Changes in Equity. So in SOPA, you have under SOCI, right? You also have two columns, right? GRP and NCI. Okay, same thing. So in the NCI, you put decrease in NCI or reduction in NCI, the amount of B. In the GRP, you put gain or loss. So if gain on second acquisition, you put A. If it is a loss, then A will be in bracket. This is where you adjust your adjustment in your SOPI as well as SOPL. Okay? Alright, just now we look at the first situation whereby the company remain as a subsidiary, meaning that the first acquisition subsidiary after acquisition still remain as a subsidiary. Okay, now the second situation, this is where status change from ASO to sub. ASO to sub meaning to say that, okay, for example, I draw a line here. Okay, 1st January 2018 acquired 40%, so here is 40%, and then 1st October add another 40%, so now becoming 80%. Okay, now here no NCI, but here your NCI is only 20%. So this is where ASO, initially ASO, now change to subsidiary. Okay, ASO to sub. So when we have ASO to sub, for working number 1, okay, your NCI, you don't have before and after. Why don't have before and after? Because this is before, right? So before you are not a subsidiary, so not included in the NCI. You are only the subsidiary after the additional acquisition of 40%. Okay, so that's why your NCI, profit after tax, times 3/12 times 20% straight away, like what we did before this. And when we calculate working number 2 is here, BD, the status of the company is ASO. Alright, ASO, because they add 40% here, but beginning of the year, status ASO. When the status is an associate, working number 3, they don't have the NCI. Okay, because as I mentioned before this, working number 2 and working number 3 is a partner. So if there is no subsidiary, so no NCI for that particular company. Okay, now when we have the status change from ASO to sub, you need to calculate an item called gain or loss on virtual sale of investment. Okay, status change from ASO to sub, an item will call gain or loss on virtual sale of investment. Okay, that one you can refer to chapter 16 from your textbook, example 14. Okay, you can try to do from the textbook. Okay, so this is where we have piecemeal in the soapy and sopal. Okay, before that, I forget. When we have ASO to sub, you only have one adjustment. Okay, one adjustment. Meaning to say that in soapy, if in soapy, you put in the schedule, okay, schedule for GRP, you put a fair value change. You calculate and you put here. Okay, in Sopal, you will disclose below the, you will disclose in the Sopal itself, the statement. Okay, the statement under share of profit associate, below that you can put it as a gain or loss on virtual sale of investment. Okay, gain or loss on virtual sale of investment. Okay, this is where you put your adjustment. Alright, so we have covered piecemeal acquisition both in the SOPI as well in the SOPA.